Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Together, the new body horror sort of movie by Michael Shanks, new writer-director. This is his first feature, I'm pretty sure, and starring David Franco. Is it Dave Franco or David? Dave Franco and Alison Brie, a real-life couple, playing a couple in this movie.
Yes.
And their chemistry is fun. It's always so fun seeing a real couple on screen because you're like, you two actually get along sometimes. But in case you haven't seen the trailers, you don't know anything about it. It is about a couple who is going through ups and downs, but as you've seen in the trailers, slowly seem to be becoming one. Ooh, allegorical horror much, maybe?
Ooh.
So it seemed like this movie was very much going to be one thing. The movie starts, and it is that thing. Then it isn't that thing. And then maybe it is that thing. This movie was much more than I expected it to be. It was a little all over the place. And I mean that both as a compliment and as a detriment. I liked it in areas more than I expected, and I was also maybe just frustrated that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But overall, I had a good time. How are you feeling?
Overall, I enjoyed it enough for this genre of movie. It's definitely well made, definitely well acted. Body horror was on point there.
Yeah, it is.
Some of the stuff was hard to watch.
Yeah.
In a positive way.
This reminded me of The Substance in ways, and I wasn't expecting to be reminded. I was not expecting to be reminded of that movie at all. And so the fact that it did is a compliment, but I'm also shocked that it went in that way. There was also some fun, kind of more traditional horror moments that also really caught me off guard.
Yeah, I'll say most of those were pretty well done in this one.
Oh, so good.
Usually I see it coming. I'm not usually jolting at all.
I jolted a couple times.
This got me a few times.
The first one of the best ones I've ever seen. And maybe it's just because I wasn't expecting it, but like, it's a little bit of a slow burn to a brr moment, and we'll get to it in spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything, but I was just like, I started laughing once the scene ended because I said to you, I was like, I wasn't ready. I was not ready for that, and I was so happy it happened, and that's how I feel about most of this movie. Not entirely perfect, I will say. Some of the pacing was a little bit finicky. It kind of felt like sometimes it's just a collection of moments rather than a story, which kind of threw me off. And then, yeah, like I said, a little bit all over the place. But overall, I mean, it's not trying too hard to be scary the whole time. I think of the Jordan Peele quote where he says the difference between horror and comedy is the music. Because there was a lot of moments where I was like, this isn't actually scary at all if you think about it. It's entertaining. I was never bored.
Yeah.
But a lot of it wasn't scary, and I don't think it was entirely trying to be for a lot of it. But it's excellently directed. I love the cast. Big fan of Dave Franco and Alison Brie. Don't see them in enough. Want to see them in more. I feel like they do a lot more TV, I guess, and I don't watch a lot of TV. So I mainly just watch movies, and they don't do a whole lot of them, I feel like. But anyway, enjoyed that a lot, and I just... I can't wait to get into spoilers. I am so excited to get into spoilers. I knew it was going to be an allegory, but like going into it, I was like, it's going to be so simple. How are they going to make this interesting the whole time? And then I'm like, oh, they just keep adding shit. There's so much to it. And I loved it.
I don't think I could have predicted exactly how it was going to fall out there.
Yeah.
That was a real interesting take on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's some real interesting mythology they got here.
I'm curious how on the same page we are. Or if we're even in the same chapter here.
Probably not.
I'm excited. I'm planning on making another movie explain video out of this. Because I'm excited to talk about this. But I'm trying to reel it in. This movie wasn't perfect. There was definite flaws. But at the same time, this movie really resonated with me and was a plot I really enjoyed, so I'm willing to look past those flaws a little bit more. Definitely not the best movie of the year, but it was one of my favorites. I'm going to tentatively give it a hard 7.5. I really enjoyed this.
I'm okay with the 7.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where this is going to end up on my own
Yeah.
list if I were ever to make one, but far more interesting than I expected. Definitely very well made. And enjoyable enough for a movie I'll probably never see again.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this again. And the funny thing, too, is, like, I at a certain point probably would have said this was my favorite movie of the year, but then I felt like they tried to do a little too much, and that's where it got a little too convoluted, and I was like, we could have probably cut one of these subplots here, one of these deviations, one of these commentary aspects we were going for. But maybe I'll change my mind on a rewatch. I don't know. It's just, it's hard to judge a movie that you had high expectations for, but also very specific expectations for. You thought it was going to do one thing, and then when it doesn't do that, sometimes your brain goes, oh, so it's bad. Or that, at least that aspect of it's bad. So just because it did something I wasn't expecting, I may be frustrated by it, but on a rewatch, when I'm expecting it, then I'll be like, oh, that's actually really good.
Hey, if I didn't think of it, right, it's clearly dumb.
Right, exactly. That's what I
The director
always
is not allowed
say.
to be smarter than me.
Right. Anyway, so like I said, keeping that fairly short, but I do want to get into spoilers. This movie's a lot of fun to talk about, so if the trailer looked good to you, or you hadn't heard about it, but now you know about it, go see it. It's so much fun to think about and talk about after the fact. Not a perfect movie, but a lot of fun. That's all I can say. I've been smiling since about a third of the way through this movie, just nonstop smiling. I've had a great night. Also, I didn't mention it in the last review because it was a tertiary peripheral character, but a Simon died in that, and there was a Simon in this. What is with all the Simons in precarious situations lately? There was a Simon last week. So too many Simons. A lot of Simons in movies recently. Don't know what's going on.
Where's the Justin representation?
We don't need them.
We do.
So if you don't want anything spoiled, click away, go watch it, come back, and we'll talk about it then. But don't forget to like, share, follow, review, all of that. Subscribe, too. Why not? Give us a 5-star rating on wherever you listen to podcasts. It all does help. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. We made it through the non-spoiler section that time. It was a little less humid in here. Your glasses were fogging up again, but I kept seeing them. Before I take up the next half hour ranting,
Oh, I'm fine with that.
let me get your thoughts on everything, I guess. I mean, there's some obvious stuff we're going to agree on. It's an allegory about couples.
Right.
Shocker. But so what's your thought on all the extra information that we didn't necessarily see coming here?
It was definitely an interesting take. I didn't expect the whole we form up into one being and share a perfect mind, essentially, mind and body. The perfect intimacy or whatever the spiel was at the end.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all. I don't know what I thought the sticking was going to be. But
I didn't. I knew they were becoming one thing from the trailer.
I wasn't 100% sure that they were going to fully
Yeah.
transform into it, but like it did seem like they were
Yeah.
starting to.
The thing that I didn't see coming was the cult religious aspect here. Really threw me for a loop, and
Yeah.
that's the part where I'm like, if they cut that, I would be happy. But I'm also not. Maybe I'm not upset about it. I'll have to talk myself through it and figure out how I feel about it, but that was the part that was the most cuttable to me. Allegories don't need explanations. You could have just had there be a mystic pond. That frankly shocked me that there was any explanation at all. I thought it was just going to start happening to them when they moved in the house. But like the movie starts and you got like the beginning, like it's the thing, like with the demon dog thing. And I was like, oh, that's a statement to start the movie with. Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything. You know, like I think about a movie we saw this year, like The Lady in the Yard. You don't get a goddamn explanation for why the lady's there. I mean, the plot evolves, and you're like, well, it's obviously a representation of her depression, yada, yada, yada. I was expecting that, because I feel like that's how a lot of allegorical horror goes, is they don't give you a damn reason for it to happen. They just say, this is an allegory, just go with it.
Yeah.
You know, I actually got into an argument a few years ago with a commenter on my whole channel, because I did a video explaining that Nicolas Cage Dream movie. And I was explaining, like, it's an allegory for fame and being in the public eye and all of that. And then somebody said, okay, but, like, in the allegory, what's the reason for everybody dreaming? I'm like, there isn't a reason. There's no reason given in The Tortoise and the Hare why they're racing each other. You don't need a reason. It's just fucking happening.
Well,
Learn the lesson and move on.
You know, Tortoise and the Hares have a long-standing beef, obviously. You gotta throw down somehow.
And so I was shocked when this movie started and went like, ooh, thing. I was like, we don't need a thing, but okay, I'll take the thing. And so that's why I was like, it felt like maybe they were doing a little too much at times, but most of it I was cool with. Also, the thing with his dead parents was the jump scare I was talking about, because holy shit, that was terrifying.
Yeah, like, I knew it had to be some wild thing he saw with his parents. I didn't expect that. I did expect him to, like, find them dead.
Yeah.
Like, they both died. Maybe he found them after a few days or something.
Something traumatizing to make a dude not want to fuck Alison Brie. It's got to be pretty traumatizing.
I mean, that doesn't seem traumatizing enough to me, but, you know.
But, yeah, no.
I'm going to run straight into Alison Brie to comfort me after my parents, personally.
But, yeah, so the scene is like they're having a bit of an argument or whatever because of, we don't know all the details yet when this scene happens. We just know she complained to her friend about them not having sex anymore. She tries to initiate, he goes, I drank too much, and she gets mad and rolls over. And then he hears her say, like, some really cutting things, like that, I forget the exact wording, but, like, you're insecure and you're pathetic and you whatever.
Something like that.
And he's like, what did you say? And he turns to look at her, and she's facing away, and all of a sudden the lighting gets really cold. It looked like, what it reminded me of was like a found footage kind of movie, or even Skinamarink, where it's just like the camera is the light source. And so it's just a very specific way to film that's like everything's very cold and circular imagery there of just the center of the screen. And it was just such a shift into, we're in a horror movie all of a sudden. I was like, oh. And then she goes like, can you at least like tell them to stop looking at us? I can't sleep with them watching us. And just like that sends chills down your spine when you're just like, literally, I get like goosebumps even saying the line now because it was just like so effective. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then he looks up and he sees who we later find to be his parents, with his dad being dead and his mom being
deranged,
the Joker. You hear creaking, and then it cuts to this over the head shot of the bed as the bed is shrinking together, and you just see like the blanket scrunching up in the middle as it's getting less and less space, and then he gets scared of it, doesn't want to see it, so he lifts up the blanket and her head's under the blanket. It's just, whoa, what an effective jump scare that was. I loved that.
Yeah,
that was so fucking good.
Because like if it was any slower, probably could have guessed some of the jump scares.
Yeah.
But just the really quick, oh my god.
And she's like, hey, and you're like, ah!
You were on the other side, bitch.
Yeah, you were over there. Why are you here? Oh god, that was so good. I loved that. Oh, that whole imagery, that whole scene was probably my favorite part of the movie, but it was also the least like the rest of the movie. And so I was like, this feels out of place, but I love it, so I'm not complaining. Moving into some basics of the allegory, and then I'll start getting more and more convoluted, I'm sure. But so obviously, yeah, so the commentary on the surface, it is about, you know, when you're around somebody maybe too much, you're in a relationship and you start becoming like each other. You become like one person in a way. You become one. You're together. You lose your individuality. And that's terrifying to a lot of people, especially nowadays. A lot of people would rather be an individual than a couple. People, even in couples, want to be individuals together. And that doesn't really work too well. But anyway, we see what happens as these two characters, maybe one more so than the other, wants to be together. You actually get to see a fun imbalance at times where Dave Franco, for most of the movie, is more dependent on her. He's more drawn to her than she is to him, which is ironic because in their actual relationship, he's the distant one. So it's kind of like a reversal there. Anyway, that's fun. What starts this whole thing, like we alluded to, is this pawn thing, and there's so many fun play on words there. So they take the plunge, which is a euphemism for getting married. They're following bells. The path is bells, wedding bells that lead them to a chapel. They fall into this place, and there's pews there. So it's all this wedding imagery. It's the taking the plunge with both falling into the hole, but also there is water, that's the thing that starts it all. There's this cursed or blessed, whatever you want to call it, water.
Yeah.
So by drinking from that water, drinking from that well, you are taking a plunge yet again. So it's a double plunge. And then, like I said, the bells, the pews, it's all this wedding imagery, which is a lot of fun to like take that and turn it into a horror imagery, make it creepy. It was fun. The religious aspect, which I'm talking my way through right now, is interesting because it makes it appear, at least momentarily, that he's the bad guy, but they end up agreeing with him at the end of the movie because he's saying like, you need to be open to it, you need to agree to do it, it's actually really good for you if you choose to do it, but he's saying it to them and it's scary to them because they're coming from a mindset of maintaining their individuality.
Right.
They don't want to do it. So it starts at a certain point. I was going like, is this movie anti-marriage propaganda? Is it saying getting married is bad? It's actually the opposite. This is pro-marriage propaganda. Yay! Get married because you don't need a personality. You become a unified person, and that's cool too. Take it or leave it. Maybe you want to stay single forever. I'm not judging.
Listen,
but
I'm okay with it. I just want 4 arms, not just like the strength of 4 arms. No, I want 4 actual arms.
Yeah, it was interesting to bring the Greek mythology into it, which once again I was like, that seems a little extra, but fine. I did enjoy though how the guy telling them this was 2 guys that got married, and it gives you all of the answers right in front of your face and you miss it.
Yeah.
Like his wedding ring is 2 rings. And I was like, that's a unique wedding ring. Didn't think about it. They show this picture. I thought it was him and his boyfriend. No, I was like, oh, that's just him younger or something. No, he was combined their 2 features into one, and I completely missed that. It was such a cool thing that I just went completely over my head until later.
Yeah, only when I saw the 2 rings did I start to think maybe there was something weird here. But I because at the point we didn't really know about like the perfect merge or anything.
Yeah.
Just that they were starting to combine some. So like I didn't quite suspect that. I thought maybe, maybe something had happened to the boyfriend. Maybe he had gotten like pulled into him and he took him over or whatever. And
Especially
just kept the
because
ring or something.
throughout most of this movie, it's portraying it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
So you're assuming it's a bad thing and trying to make the allegory make sense as a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so it can't just be marriage. And a lot of people, I'm going to be on a podcast next week or something with somebody talking about this movie, and they're like, oh, cool, that's perfect. We can talk, like, because it'll tie in with your movie. They're both about toxic relationships. Now I have to break the news to that person, like, this movie isn't really, actually. Because that's what it looked like, is like, because you can get too codependent, but this is portraying it as a good thing, and like, you should become one in a way. That's at least the religious version of marriage, is 2 fleshes becoming one, literally, in this movie. So I think
very religious marriage in this movie.
Yeah, extremely religious. But you see what happens though when you're not open to your partner, when you are trying to maintain your individuality and you're not allowing or accepting of them, is you become this horrible monster that is a 2-person, 1-person hybrid.
It's the Greek mythology thing. The old creature. It's the 2 heads, the 4 arms. You become that creature essentially.
And saggy titties.
Yeah, man.
That part really reminded me of The Substance. That creature specifically, though, as I was like, that's The Substance. I've seen this before. Very similar. I was like, do they have the same visual effects person? But yeah, like maybe they could eventually merge into a perfect union eventually. Union, marriage. But they started the process a lot sooner than these 2 did, the main 2 did. So that proves my point in that it's about, and he says this, you have to be willing and open to accept it.
Yeah.
And they're clearly not. They're fighting it. They're even asking for help. They have a knife in them, like they've been trying to cut each other apart still. Because that's, so many marriages are bad because it's not actually about being one unified thing. It's about maintaining individuality, which it's like, yes, in the grand scheme of things, we're simplifying things here. In the grand scheme of things, you are still 2 individuals and you should maintain your own personality to an extent. But the point of marriage is a union. You should be lockstep. You should be working together. And if you try to just maintain your life as normal, but now you're throwing another person into it, it's going to be an awful, horrible, disgusting experience.
Yeah.
That will probably end up in a lot of pain and misery, which is what was being portrayed with that other couple. We also get to see that when they finally do unify and agree to it, it's still not a pleasurable experience when it first starts happening. They have to do rearranging. It takes effort. He moves her shoulder blade, which made me squirm a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of just wrapping around into your spine here.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, but then once it's done, it's worth it. Yeah. But then they also have this wonderful pan where they pan over like back when they were cutting each other and stuff, because that's the thing, is when you try to keep yourselves individuals, you hurt each other so much because you're not giving yourself fully. They use the analogy of like the only way we stop this is killing ourselves.
Yeah.
Because like you feel like you have to kill the other person. Not literally. Hold on. You feel like you're killing either yourself or the other person's personality to make things work. And that can be how a toxic relationship is, or one that's too one-sided. You kill yourself or you cut yourself up trying to make things work that shouldn't. And so it's like, I thought that was a really cool pan that they had across like the buzzsaw or whatever it is, hacksaw. I don't know what kind of saw it is. Sawzall. Something. But anyway, so long story short, it ends up like the horror element of this movie is actually their fear of committing all the way to this relationship, and then it actually becomes a happy ending when they realize, no, it's a good thing. We should dive head first into this. We should go all the way. We should take the plunge or the leap or the fall into the pit, whatever you want to call it. Then you kind of look back at those moments and you can laugh a little bit, like them in the hallway resisting becoming one, or when they had to cut themselves apart, and it's like, all of that was for nothing. You were just afraid this whole time. You were afraid of what ultimately was a happy ending. Marriage, happy ending. There's so many fun little play on words you can do with this. That's great. I really enjoyed this. I really did. I've never left a horror movie feeling so uplifted in my life. Because it's not really much of a horror movie. Obviously there's allegorical horror to it, but it's like, no horror movie has ever, at least that I've seen, come to you at the end and gone like, no, actually, don't be scared. This is a good thing. That's so rare. And I'm just like, I'm so happy now.
Not just, she killed herself.
Yeah.
And that's why it's all happy in the end.
Yeah.
They were just seriously depressed the whole time.
To me, this isn't a horror movie. La La Land's the horror movie. Because La La Land's the opposite message. It says, fuck, you guys can't work. Blow it up. That's terrifying. This one is like, you guys can make it work. You are, like, and he got that nice little speech in there, which it would be funny if he was actually a bad guy, but he turns out not being a bad guy. You think he is, but he's actually good. He's just a little too assertive. He needs to calm down with the knives. But, like, he's got that line in there is, like, if you've got the one, like, don't give that up so easily. And so many people probably would or have given up on, not that I don't personally believe in the one or any of that, but like there are great relationships people give up every day because they would have had to sacrifice something. They would have had to give themselves up to be part of it, and they're not willing to. And that is scary. How often that happens. It's sad.
Listen, man, just think of the rock star he would have been if he never met her. She's holding him back.
So, they complete each other.
He should have gotten on that train.
But I know I just joked about it, and it was a little bit of a throwaway hint line of like that you complete each other, but that's true of so many couples, is like your differences is what makes you a good couple. Like, you've got checks and balances, and that's what helps you complete each other. And maybe you should be more well-rounded people, get your driver's license or whatever, but like that's a very simplified version of the point I'm trying to make. And
you saying they complete each other over again has reminded me that that's what the neighbor said to them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. Yeah.
She drives the car. I do the cooking.
That is literally the scene I was quoting.
Yes, I realized.
I like this movie a lot. I really did. I really, really did. It made me smile. It scared me a little bit, but then I got over it. I guess those dogs were soulmates. That was something I noticed, is the first thing with the dogs is they're just, like, staring deeply into each other's eyes. I'm
Yeah.
like, these dogs love each other.
I'm gonna start humping or some shit.
That's another
This one
part
had
I would have
first
cut, actually, in hindsight, is the little girl drawing a picture of the dogs in class. It was also just like, that felt like a, oh, you know, in horror movies, kids draw creepy things, so we should have a kid draw a creepy thing. It's like, we didn't need that. We could have just cut that.
Yeah, I mean, how else would they learn about the legend, even though she barely registered the photo or the drawing after that?
That was another thing that I really liked, was they both came to the same conclusion their own ways.
Yeah.
They went in different paths and they learned the same truths in their own ways. And I love that, because then she comes running back and is like, this is happening. He goes, I know. And she goes, this is happening. He goes, I know. And I was just like, I loved the amount of, like, one, banter, but, like, that is so often, like, that's how a healthy relationship works, is you get to the same conclusions. You don't take the same paths, though, generally, to get there. So this was a fun little cute psychological body horror movie. I don't know that they make many of these, but I liked it.
I wouldn't imagine they make many of
No. How many cute romance movies? That's actually funny. That's one of the genres listed on IMDb, is it goes horror, psychological horror, body horror, romance.
them. Yeah, that makes sense.
So how many romance movies out there have body horror in them? That's great. But yeah, for a while there, when the religious guy was the bad guy, it seemed, which I still feel like that could have been cut because it just added a convoluted mess to it. But I guess the point, before I get back to that first point, is like, that does seem scary, I guess. If you are used to individuality and marriage scares you, and then a religious person also words it the way that they do about two fleshes becoming one,
Yeah.
that's kind of scary sounding. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's a lot of Christian, or any religion, I'm sure, idioms that, like, they're used to saying and so sound normal to them, but then to somebody who's not religious, they go like, what are you talking about? I'm supposed to eat his flesh and drink his blood? What are
Yes.
you talking about?
And the blood is grape juice.
Or wine.
Mostly grape juice.
And his skin is saltine crackers.
Yes. Or whatever the hell the Eucharist is.
Yeah, true. Ain't matzah. So I think that does make sense, and that's one of the things, like, I'm still struggling with. It's like, it makes sense in my head, but, like, I still don't like it, and I think I need to watch it again.
He's an interesting character, because they had me
Yeah.
going for the first
really-
third of the movie, where I thought not that he was like a villain, but just that I really thought he was really trying to
Yeah.
get smashed down.
They
ass and
threw
rape.
you a couple of curveballs because you're like, he's trying to bang her.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gay. Interesting. Well, he's still a good guy. And then, oh, he's the bad guy. And then, wait, no, he's the good guy? But you never see him. After you realize he's not the bad guy, you never see him. You never get to get that connection moment where you're like, oh, he is good. I like him. It's just, he's a bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. Off screen, they go, actually, he's right. We should do this. And then so he's redeemed, but you never see his face again. I think that's why there's a disconnect. That's a lesson for filmmakers. If you're gonna redeem a character, we need to see their face again so we can associate the goodness now with him. We need to see him smile or something. We need to know he's not evil now. Because I still in my head, I'm like, he's evil, and I'm like, no, he was right. He just kind of creepy for some reason.
See, when they started showing like his like, I guess that was his wedding tape essentially.
Yeah.
That he was trying to
They
show
made
her
it as
earlier.
creepy as possible.
Yeah, but like from that, I expected to like us to randomly meet some other characters from like the nearby.
More of the cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, these are the other people who have also made their the combined together and now.
That's literally when the parents first showed up at the end of the movie. I thought it was like a group dinner with like because the feet got out, her mom's feet got out,
Yeah.
and the fit from the ankles down was a bit androgynous, and so I was like, oh, so that's them because it's a half man, half woman thing. This is getting some crazy territory. But I was thinking, like, we've combined Alison Brie and Dave Franco, so how will they dress? And so I was thinking we were having a dinner party with, like, the whole cult now or something. And then it panned up and I was like, oh, it's the parents. And I was like, oh, they're getting to meet them now. That should be interesting. And then you get to see, oh, they've got the cult bell now. Which, dude, you heard that they did such a good job with the bell on his Because, like, you hear her ring the bell, you see them ring the bell, but they don't show the bell. And so you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting doorbell. So you can put it together if you actually think about it. But all I go is like, who has that kind of doorbell? And then I stop thinking about it. It's just some really clever maneuvering there where they give you all the information, but do it in a way that you're not thinking about it. That's especially coming from, like, us, who that's all we do is watch movies and think about them. We still missed it. That's a good job. That's a good job, buddy. Good. Once again, I get it's an allegory, so your perception is key. She perceives him as a bad guy, and so therefore he is. But when you're cutting somebody's forearm open with a knife, it kind of makes you go like, but he did that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, cutting her open was for the good of them. And hey, maybe that's like a therapy thing. Is he's opening her up. Because, like, you cannot have a healthy relationship unless you open up. So here, let me open you up.
Yeah, I didn't quite get what that was supposed to be outside of the fact that that was what happened to the two of him and the two people that make him.
Well, that's his line
there.
that I brought up earlier, was that if you want to be in a healthy relationship, you need to open up and accept them. That's
Yeah.
what he says when he cuts her. It's like, it's easier, this process is easier if you open up and accept them. So he cuts her open, and then she has to accept it.
I get that, but then you don't have to do it to him too. Well, I mean, I guess he already is accepting her, and I know he's changing and shit. But
Yeah, I guess that's where
we don't need the cut.
allegory falls apart a little bit,
Yeah.
because instead of opening up, he just went into her opening, which is what men do,
He did quite a bit of it in this spot.
and got stuck.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene was so rough.
God. You know, his resentment towards being taken away from, like,
Mhm.
having to give up the band, having to move out there,
Yeah.
taking that all away. That all made sense to me. His mental illness that got kind of added into there started making me feel like there might be more with that outside of
Mhm.
getting the pills that matter in the end.
Well, the pills, that's another thing that I was like, they barely mattered at all. It was just muscle relaxers that helped you mind over body or whatever. But I think...
It seemed like it stopped their bodies from wanting to join up for a little while.
Right, because their bodies were relaxed, so you
Yeah.
could go mind over matter. Which, I guess, if, like,
So, like, they
you're
could've-
trying to make a sex analogy there, and so it's like, you know, if you have sex with this person, you're going to bond with them on an emotional level, so mentally you're trying to stop yourself from being with them physically. I think that's probably where it's going. I think also the whole thing with, like, the one-sided nature at the beginning is just, it's showing how painful and dangerous a lopsided relationship is, where he was so much more invested into her than she was into him.
Yeah.
And granted, I think most relationships start somewhere around there, because I think somebody decides first that they like the other person or want to get married first.
So, okay, the rats in the ceiling. Not talking about the whole...
Oh,
with
that was another thing we didn't even get into, was the being in a half-dead relationship. That was a fun analogy that they brought up too, where it's like, you get so used to, and they get into, like, the complacency aspect.
Yeah.
And then a really interesting thing is that the bad guy turns out to be therapist, good guy, mentor, or whatever. So it's like, yeah, well, sometimes complacency is just compatibility. Because that's the other thing, is like, when all you're looking for in a relationship is excitement, something serious, consistent, and quote-unquote boring looks awful. But it's like, that is a consistent, good, healthy relationship.
So who wants to be together for 60 years?
Yeah. But there's also the other side of, like, sometimes people are just complacent, though. You know, sometimes people are just together because it's convenient,
Yeah.
which is something that he was talking about with his parents. I think that was the analogy there, was the dad in the situation was dead, aka I would take it as emotionally unavailable or uninvested. And the mom was just so used to it because it's a gradual thing, like he's saying, like with the dead rat. You smell it little bit by little bit. It's not just all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so you don't even realize it's there. And so you're just used to it. When people fall out of love, there's so many marriages that go on forever with one or both people not being in love, but they're just used to it. And it's not like one day they're in love and then the next day they aren't. That would be easy to notice. And then you'd be like, we should stop this. Yeah, good idea. But when it's gradual, or even just one-sided gradual, then that makes people stay because it's convenient, because they don't notice it, or they choose to be oblivious because they can't take it.
No.
So you just smile in bed next to a dead, rotting corpse. God, that's a fun analogy, too. This movie's full of fun.
This movie's just launching right up your list.
I mean, it's been pretty high the whole time, Justin. I enjoyed this movie a lot. More than Monkey Man? I don't know. I refuse to call whatever that movie's actually called anything but Monkey Man.
Is it not called Monkey Man?
Monkey Man is a movie. When I say Monkey Man, I'm talking about the singing, dancing monkey.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking
Jesus.
about.
Okay.
Monkey Man came out last year. That's
Yeah,
not
no.
relevant. When I talk about Monkey Man,
I just
I'm
thought we were
talking
joking about that. Okay.
No.
No.
Anytime I mention Monkey Man on this podcast, I am specifically talking about whatever the hell Robbie Williams movie is called.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know what that's called either. That rat and his lights at the house when they're adults, not the kid house, but like, was that like 6 of them like fused together? Because that's what it seemed like, a little bit. I couldn't tell if they were fused or just stuck.
Yeah.
If they had died. Because then it just made me wonder, like, okay, the water worked on
an open marriage.
because the water worked on the dogs, all right. So because it's the dogs,
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily thinking the dogs are like soulmates or whatever. But then
The way they were staring at each other, hell yeah, they were.
all right, listen. You know, is that territorial? Is that soul bonding? They did kind of seem like soul bonding. You ever hear that thing? You stare at each other's eyes for 30 seconds. Soul merge, whatever.
Yeah.
But
No, that's funny. The fact, because like I knew the merging was a part of this movie, yet when I saw the rats and it looked like there was a squirrel in there too or something.
Yeah, I
don't
could
know.
not tell. It just like
It just looked like a lump of shit. Like I wasn't like, oh, it's because they all merged together. I'd need to rewatch that scene now. I'm curious.
it just looks so. It was too many at once for me.
Yeah.
To feel like this was some sort of. I just had a bunch of things die in my attic. He pulled them out all at the same time,
Well,
which was just weird.
He said when he's telling the story later.
And then he threw them all at the same.
When he's telling the story later, he mentions it was a nest, and then they all died together. So it could have been a nest of them,
I guess so.
and that's what was kind of connecting.
It seemed like
because I think they make nests out of dead fur. I think that's what they do. I know some
see that.
animals do that. I don't know if rats actually do.
I couldn't tell if they were like some sort of connected in some way. Because like,
Yeah, I
does
don't
the
know. I'm
water
curious now,
actually
actually.
only work on couples? Does it just work on people who come there together? And maybe people who would just randomly show up, they always become monsters because they probably be fighting each other, not a relationship.
See, we're getting to a point here where it's like that's not the point of the allegory, and you're thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I know.
This is
but-
asking why the tortoise and the hare are racing. We don't need to know that.
Listen, I can't help it. All right?
You can, though.
I'm not asking for an explanation. I'm just gonna ask the question.
That's asking for an explanation. That is what a question is, Justin.
So I can toss a question out there without really expecting an explanation.
Yeah, I'm sticking with a 7.5 for now. I want to see it again, though. I really want to see it again. I have friends that I want to show this to, and I will show that to them. But until I see it again, I can't go above a 7.5. And like I said, there are legitimate gripes with it, so maybe it won't even go up anyway. But I enjoyed the few but good scary moments. The acting, like I said, is great. A lot of that is helped by the fact that they are a real-life couple. Goes a long way. But
That does tend to work when you have them in a relationship and something, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, ultimately, it's like the messaging and the idea of the story that is what really makes me love this movie so much. It's one of those things that it goes beyond, like, execution. Like, I like the idea. So, unless they had done it horribly, I was going to enjoy this movie no matter what.
I did enjoy the movie. I don't know, maybe if you put it on one day, I'll see it again.
All right, well, that's what we had to think. A little bit of differing opinions here, but I think we both give it a thumbs up.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not the type of movie I would generally watch on my own.
I would.
And I don't have anyone who's going to see it. Like
I do.
I don't know when the next time I would watch Naked Gun again if it weren't for the fact that I just know I have a friend who wants to go see it this weekend. So.
All right. Well, we are both still recommending it if it's your kind of thing. I really liked it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've seen the movie, let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Also, don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, all that shit. Thanks, guys. Bye. I had a good fucking time today. I was smiling. I was geeking, like, all the way out of the theater.